I have the leaves in the top now cut to size and the edges joined, and I have a perfect joint along the edges here, which is important. And this central top is planed to precisely 18 and 9/16 inches wide, and that is so that when the leaves are in the hanging down position, that there's a slight space between the legs, apron, and those leaves as they're hanging down. On some older tables you'll see where the top is shrunk and the leaves spring out like that. You certainly don't want that. And you also don't want a big gap between the apron and the leaves because that looks kind of sloppy. Normally I like to run the shaper cutters under the work, both for operator safety and the safety of the piece. But in this case, since the underneath side of the top is the reference surface, I must run the cutter above the work on the central panel. You could use hold downs to ensure the stock doesn't lift from the table of the shaper and ruin the profile, but for a top this small, I'd rather work without them. This is how the rule joint comes from the shaper, and you can see that large gap right here, but I did that on purpose. I've cut section here in the leaf deeper, and now I can plane a little bit off of here until I get a perfect fit between these two elements right here. Now after planing off that edge, I have a much more precise fit. I have a very slight gap right here, which is what I want, and a much more precise fit between the two elements of the rule joint there. I've begun the process of installing the hinges for the rule joint, and this has to be done with considerable precision if the leaves are to operate properly, and that is have them open and close without binding, and also not have the hinges or its mortise show when the leaves are in the down position. And the guiding factor there is to have the center line of the barrel of the hinge offset from the edge exactly equal to this offset here from this edge there to that shoulder that's cut on the rule joint, and this is on the central panel to the top. And then I have routed here a 5/16 inch deep by 5/16 inch wide mortise, and that's just a little bit bigger than what I need. That gives me some play. And then I've scribed a center line on the hinge, and this leaf here, just ignore that, only pay attention to this and this part of the hinge, because that's where I want it to line up. And I'm going to line it up on this scribe line that you can see here and there, making sure it's exactly on that, and then hold it in place and scribe around it with the knife, and then we'll route out a depth equal to the thickness of the leaf here. I have the recess routed now, and I'm going to screw the hinge in place, and I've taken an automatic centering punch here and located this hole. I'm only going to put one screw in for right now. That way if I have to shift anything a little bit one way or another, it gives me some more option. I've now routed out the mortises in the leaves for the hinges, and I've lightly clamped it together here, and I'm going to use that same automatic center punch here to locate one screw hole in each hinge.